Welcome to Black Love and Cinema with Manny and Jess, where we break down love and relationships through the lens of our favorite Black movies. Today, we are going to touch on a movie that is a classic Christmas movie, and it is my sister's favorite. This movie is The Preacher's Wife.
The Preacher's Wife is a great movie. It is a 1996 remake of the classic Bishop's Wife, which was actually made in 1947. And I like that movie as well. That movie starred Cary Grant, and The Preacher's Wife stars Whitney Houston as Julia, the preacher's wife, Courtney B. Vance as Henry, the preacher, and Denzel Washington as Dudley, the angel sent to help the preacher.
Our goal on this channel is to take these movies and take a look at some of the things that we see that deal with relationships. And in this one, it is dead on to what can happen if a relationship is neglected, whether it's due to work or other circumstances. But in this case, it is mainly due to the busy job of being a pastor. And what are some things that you noticed in this movie that was going on in the relationship where there may have been some things that caused the issues?
The thing that stood out to me is that Julia and Henry weren't communicating.
Okay.
So it's evident that there is some neglect. And it's evident that Henry feels overwhelmed, but neither one of them are talking about it with each other.
Right.
They don't even, it's almost like they don't even give permission to themselves, let alone to each other, to feel the way they feel. And so they're contributing to the neglect that they don't like. But to be fair, the neglect was more evident with Julia, who ends up telling her business to Dudley. Dudley's an angel, but he's a dude. So we'll get on that later. Right. But Henry, he's just kind of like, he's operating like he's on an island by himself. And it's almost like it's my responsibility to take care of the problems I'm dealing with. It's almost like, it's like low key, he was saying my wife can't help me.
Yeah.
Or it's not her job to help me.
Right.
And so he's in his own world, oblivious to what she's experiencing. And she's clearly experiencing some things, but she's not communicating with him. So this chasm keeps building and it's growing between them.
Yeah. What I noticed was the lack of intentionality. So Henry was busy with the church. He was busy with the community. He was busy with business with the church. And instead of making his wife a priority and be intentional with her, and instead of putting the load of the church on Dudley, he chose to put the load of his wife on Dudley.
So if you haven't seen the movie, just like the original, the preacher prayed for assistance. Now, he kind of just did it. It didn't seem like he was praying sincerely necessarily, but Dudley was sent to provide assistance.
Yes.
He wasn't there for the marriage, at least so we assume he's not.
Right.
But what you're saying, Henry didn't utilize Dudley to help him with addressing matters at the church and doing all those sort of administrative duties that he easily could have taken care of. But when Henry had opportunities to give that to Dudley, he decided instead, oh, my wife needs to do this. Can you take her? Oh, my child has this. Will you handle that? And he basically put Dudley in his role as a husband and a father.
Yeah, which is, that's what I noticed.
Yeah. I can see why you would notice that.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. And I'm like, bro, you sending your wife to another man.
And this is after the man let him know that he was basically, hey, you want to pay attention to this woman? And he's like, oh, no, you go ahead and do that for me.
Yeah.
Nah.
So it's the thing about this movie is the way things unfold, like, you can kind of look at it like it's not a big deal.
Right.
Because it could look like you said, like he was just busy or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the way things are unfolding, if this happens month after month, year after year, then you have this story of a couple 20 years down the line, like we don't even know each other.
Right.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got here.
We ended up being roommates.
Yeah.
That's where you get that excuse.
Yeah. And then it's this whole thing where a lot of times you see that kind of storyline and those couples quit. They just decide to get a divorce.
Right.
But it's just a matter of, it's a series of failing to be intentional that leads to the demise of their relationship. And unfortunately, because no one's talking about how they feel, even if Henry said it, just even alluded to his overwhelm and communication with his wife, and if Julia alluded to feeling neglected, that would have at least given them an opportunity to ask some discovery questions and discover where they were and try to get back on track. But instead, Julia's telling Dudley what's bothering her, but Henry's too busy just trying to handle things on his own. Like he almost don't trust anybody.
No, he doesn't.
And yet
he wants to handle everything himself.
And yet he's handling nothing. Did you notice that?
I did not.
You try to juggle all these balls and you don't even know all your balls have fallen.
That's true.
Dang. They're already in a mess.
Yes.
So what could they have communicated at that point, even if they weren't even keenly aware of what was going wrong,
Right.
what could they have shared with each other that would help them not create a greater chasm?
Watching the movie, I think that Julia was trying to communicate.
You think so?
She was telling Henry what she needed.
What she saying?
As far as with the son and the friend leaving,
Oh,
and
yeah, you're right.
the shopping needing to get done.
Even the youth from the
Yep.
youth center.
And handling. So she was, I guess in the best way to say it, she was being a first lady and saying, hey, here's some stuff that we need to take care of, not only in the home but out of the home. Here's the list of stuff we got, gifts that we got to go take, or baskets that we got to get together and do. And so there's this list of things. And instead of him stopping, taking a look and saying, okay, I need to prioritize and figure out what's what, and start with, first off, you got a whole son that needs attention.
Yeah, his friend is being put in foster care.
Right. And that's an immediate thing. So you got to take care of the well-being of your kid. And then you got to look at whether or not you are handling other things within the house.
So I'm going to be devil's advocate.
Okay.
Because you literally just said she's giving him a list of all these things he needs to do.
Right.
Henry obviously felt overwhelmed already.
Yes.
What if that's how he interpreted everything she said? That's just another item on a to-do list.
Right.
So if that's the case, and he's already juggling all these balls with church,
right,
pastoring the church and trying to take care of the administrative duties, maybe he looked at Julia and their kid in the same way. You keep piling all this stuff on me, don't you see?
Right.
I'm trying to figure this out.
And he's probably relying on her to just handle it.
Because if that's how she presents it, like a list,
yeah,
then it's like, I'll get to it when I get to it. And that's consistent with everything else he's doing.
Yeah. And then Dudley steps in and he's like, oh, cool. Well, you can do this.
Because he feels like he's being, how you say, efficient.
Yes.
Not realizing that
he's being neglectful.
Yes.
Well, and I think to him, he's thinking that by giving Dudley the smaller tasks, which he feels is smaller, he can concentrate on the bigger tasks, which is the big, trying to figure out the big problems with the, whether it's the boiler in the church or if it's the project, the big major project decision.
Or making this deal.
Yeah, making that deal. He's trying to figure that part out versus switching it. But in that same sense, he doesn't even really trust Dudley. And so he's probably like, I'm gonna give you this little task since you're gonna keep.
I'm gonna trust you with my wife.
Yeah,
but not with typing a paper.
Which is crazy. But I think from his perspective, he thought that was gonna be, the easier thing. He can tackle that, and then that'll get that out of my way. Meanwhile, he's basically handed his wife over to the angel.
Yeah, but you said that Julia was communicating her needs, and then you proceeded to say that she basically was providing a list of a whole bunch of things for him to do.
Right. And so I think so the question was basically, how should they have communicated? He should have said something to her about how he felt, whether he was overwhelmed, if he needed help, any of those things. And he never really did that. Instead he just sent Dudley to do stuff.
Yeah. And then everything else, he kept to himself. Like, it was given, like, again, we already said, it seemed like he didn't trust her, but it was also given, like, there's nothing you can do to help me, so I don't even want to waste my time.
Right.
And maybe he also felt like this is my responsibility. None of y'all can do anything. I'm the pastor.
Right.
I'm the leader of this church.
And I kind of felt like there might have been a slight bit of deception because it was her father's church, and he was trying to make this deal that was going to end up.
He was keeping it to himself because that would mean getting rid of the church her father built.
Yeah.
Well,
which I don't know if they really went too far into that. They kind of touched on it a little bit, but that part of it was like, he's not really thinking. All he's thinking about is the church family and not necessarily
his real family.
Yes.
I feel like I need to watch this movie again because I don't know that Julia really communicated with him. I feel like she really did a good job playing a preacher's wife in the sense that the traditional ones, probably some today if you want to argue that, who I would say the ones who respect the cloth,
right,
those are the ones who don't tend to speak up.
Yeah. And
they kind of just let their husbands do what they do to the neglect of themselves, let alone the effect that it will have on their family. And so in that regard, Julia played that part well because she would allude to what she needed, which I think is where your list comes in.
Yes.
So she didn't just directly say, Henry, I feel like you're neglecting our family. It's important that you spend time with Hakeem and with Hakeem was a neighbor. I don't even know what their kid's name was.
There's letters.
The little boy, I don't know. But I feel neglected. We don't talk anymore. I miss going on dates with you, all those things. She didn't say that to him. She just kind of let him lead, do what he was gonna do. And in the meantime, she was clearly developing resentment.
Yes.
Because when she started connecting with Dudley, now she's telling Dudley all her business.
Right. And what's worse is she's also in spaces that were meant for them too.
Oh, yes.
With Dudley.
Yeah. Like they're where he proposed to her.
Right.
Now she's spending time with Dudley at this bar, restaurant.
Right.
having this romantic interaction with him.
Going up and being adventurous and singing for the crowd, and
they're ice skating together.
Yeah.
They're essentially, they look like dates.
yeah, they're dating.
And she's building this connection with him while also talking about how her husband's neglecting her. And Dudley is filling this space. It wasn't intentional because, like you said, Henry sent him
Right.
to do that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Dudley is catching feelings for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about the difference between the shopping scene when the bishop's wife.
Oh, yeah. So in the 1947 movie, The Bishop's Wife, it's the same idea. The angel's hanging out with the wife, but she's admiring this thing that she wants, and it's a hat.
It's a hat.
It's a hat. But then in The Preacher's Wife,
It's awful.
she's admiring lingerie, and then Dudley gonna have the audacity to say, "Go try it on." Try it on for who?
Yeah, that's a little much.
I was like, no, they didn't. No,
Yes.
they didn't.
So that tells you right there that there was some lines starting to be crossed.
Yeah. The lines was crossing because she was telling him her business before that.
Yep, that brings up a whole nother set of topics of that neglect led to her was basically relying on something else.
Confiding in another man.
Yeah.
Which is always a trap that leads to emotional infidelity, which could lead to physical infidelity, sexual infidelity. And now you caught up and you don't even know how you got there.
Right.
Because you're trusting someone else other than your partner to be your confidant.
Right.
When all the things you're sharing with this other person, you could have shared with your spouse. I understand, like, everybody can't communicate like that, and people don't feel comfortable. But you have to decide: do I want this relationship, or is it something I'm just willing to throw away? If you want it, then the tough conversations have to happen.
Right. And I think that tough conversation kind of started when Henry found out that they went to their old spot. And then he was in his feelings. Yeah, I think he kind of caught on and was like, "Oh, wait a minute."
But even he didn't.
but
he came for Dudley instead.
Right. Instead of thinking, like you always say, you got to see what your part is in the issue. Yeah. Instead of doing that, saying, "Oh, I might need to go ahead and pay attention. I'm gonna send Dudley over here to do this stuff, and I'm gonna get with my wife."
He still did.
He still didn't do it.
Well,
so
he just sent Dudley away, and at that point, he just made everybody mad.
Right.
By doing that.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, at least Dudley was filling the gap. Now we have nothing and no one. The problem with how this played out is the fact that Henry relied on Dudley to provide the kind of care that he should have provided to his wife and his son, when Dudley was there to fulfill a need that would have freed Henry to be there for his wife and son. Okay. Like, there's a time where you can use external help, and you need to use external help to get your marriage back on track, get your relationship back on track. But you have to discern the proper use of that help, and you need to know how to establish those boundaries. Julia shouldn't have shared none of them issues with Dudley. First of all, Dudley could see it anyway.
Right.
And that's enough intel. Like, if he had nefarious motive,
if he wasn't an angel.
If he wasn't an angel, he could have used that just by observation. But now she's providing all this information. Like we talked about it, I Think I Love My Wife, but we said that was intel.
Yep, he had all the intel.
He had all the intel, and she just steady giving it to him because she's being neglected by Henry.
Right.
And she feels comfortable with Dudley. And then in the meantime, Henry too busy being jealous, which is good because it means he has feelings for her.
Right.
But he's using his jealousy the wrong way. So instead of looking at himself in the mirror, taking ownership, yeah, he's looking at Dudley like he's a problem.
Right.
And he gets rid of Dudley. Now you pissed everybody off. You hurt everybody's feelings because Dudley cared. Henry cares, but it was obvious that Dudley cared about everybody he was interacting with,
including their relationship.
Yes, exactly.
He cared about that probably the most.
Exactly. And yet Henry's so blind, he sees what he wants to see. And so he thinks he can get rid of the problem, not realizing he is the problem. So they need to have this conversation. And if the question is, like, again, how do you do it? Because if Henry only sees himself, and he's self-reliant in the worst way, and Julia, for some reason, she's playing this good preacher's wife, feel like she can't overstep. Like, how do you have this conversation? Oh, the other day we was talking about this. We was going back and forth about our notes. And I said, I think the problem with a lot of pastors' wives is they always look at their husband like he's the pastor.
Wow.
So, like, yeah, he is.
But you got to step. But that's your man.
That's your man. That's your husband.
Right.
And so I find every time I see a wife whose husband is a pastor, I've dealt with a lot of abusive pastors, unfortunately. So I'm watching all this stuff. I won't even get into that. What I've observed is with their wives, they just let their husbands get away with everything. I mean, but for them, it's not even their husband, it's the pastor.
Right.
And so the pastor, the man of God, they just, why black people always add a D to the man?
Oh, no.
The man of God.
All right.
Sounded like Juanita Bynum.
Oh.
They always let the man of God just do what he wants, like he is God himself,
Right.
not recognizing that he is a man who has to submit to God and do God's will. God's will is for him to look out for his wife and his children and take care of his home and handle business there. Because if you're not handling it there, then God said himself, you can't handle my house.
Yeah.
But these women, these wives, these first ladies, whatever you call them in whatever denomination or you represent, even if you're not a Christian, you familiar with that culture at all, they always let their husbands, the pastors, get away with stuff because they feel like they're being submissive, good wives. You treat him like your pastor when he is literally your husband, and at the end of the day, he is only a man.
That's true.
And we know he's a man because he don't even know how to handle everything.
Yeah.
He had to get divine help.
Yes.
Divine help came, and he didn't even have enough sense to use it.
Right. Divine help. And you would think that you would send the divine help to the church. You would think, because that's where you want it all to be right.
Exactly, and that's what I feel. So I really do think, if you're in that position where your partner's in ministry, it could be a woman too. Your
Yes.
woman could be in ministry.
Absolutely.
You really do feel torn because it's like, man, you respect the calling. I don't know
Yes.
what else to say.
Right.
And so you feel like you can't say nothing to them about how you feel because you feel like you disrespected God.
Yeah.
But I think my protection, because you've heard me say it.
Oh yeah.
I don't give a dang what your title is. You can be a pastor, a preacher, a prophet, an evangelist, a missionary, an elder. There's so many titles in these black churches.
Yes.
We're white. I don't care who you are, what denomination you represent, whether you're a Christian or not. I don't care about your title because all of us have to answer to God. They think their husbands are untouchable because of their role, and then they get neglected and then wonder why they don't like their husband, they don't like their family, and they want to leave. I'm going to say how I feel.
Yeah.
Julia should have said that.
Yeah.
I can empathize with someone not wanting to overstep, but I think you can respect the cloth without neglecting the fact that you're a woman, he's a man, and you are married to each other.
Well, yeah. And in the same sense of a pastor having that responsibility, I mean, what would a pastor do if one of his lay people came to him with the same problem?
Exactly.
So
And that's the thing, it's a double standard like a mug. Because he would tell them, you need to prioritize your family.
there you go.
And then at the same time, not be doing it. Like,
Yeah.
how do you, if you see your wife is enjoying this man a little too much,
Okay.
they're connecting.
Right.
And it's like,
Then I'm gonna come straight up with it and say, hey, I'm noticing that this person is getting a little bit more attention than I would like, and to you, and this is what I'm feeling. Like whether it's I'm feeling a little jealous, or I'm feeling like I'm being neglected, or I'm feeling like you may be making a connection with this person, and it may lead into something that may be more temptatious or more tempting. I don't know. Is that
I
a
like
word?
that word.
Temptatious.
It's one today.
So I'm going to bring that up because you and I, we have pretty straight up, candid conversations. So I think for me, I would just come straight with it, no filter.
But what if you aren't like that?
If you're not like that, then you need to find a space where you can actually have that conversation. And or I know a lot of times if you're not the vocal type, maybe writing it out
Mm-hmm.
or texting it, which is most people are like, oh, you don't want to text something like that. But sometimes that's the only way you can get it said.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm pretty direct. If y'all haven't caught that by now, I'm pretty direct. But sometimes, like, I'll text him stuff.
Yeah.
And
and we'd be sitting in the same room.
literally in the same room. But it's just like, sometimes it's just like, you're in a state of vulnerability. I'm in a state of vulnerability that's just, it's too vulnerable for me. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
And so I'll text it instead. And then because he understands that's the space I'm in, I guess that's a signal to him.
Yeah.
He responds to me in a text.
Right.
He doesn't usually say anything verbal unless it's, I don't know, I guess it depends on what I say.
Unless you come to me and then we start talking.
Right.
But yeah, usually that it's you want to accept whatever communication you can get, or you want to communicate in whatever best way you can in order to let them know. You don't want to not communicate, and so
Yeah. So they always say communication is the most important thing in relationships. And the problem is communication requires emotional intelligence,
yes,
effective communication. I think the problem with people is not the fact that they can't communicate. They have no emotional intelligence.
along with emotional intelligence, you also need conflict resolution skills.
Yes, definitely.
So you can communicate, and you can communicate till the cows come home. But if you don't have the emotional IQ and you don't have the conflict resolution skills, you're going to have problems either receiving or
Facts.
communicating the information.
Yeah. The thing about it is, depending on the framework that you look at for emotional intelligence, there are 4 primary aspects. So there's awareness of self, awareness of others, there's the ability to manage yourself, and then there's the ability to manage relationships or manage others. Self-awareness is having that insight into who you are, how you are, your triggers, all the things, what you believe, value, all the things that contribute to your you-ness. And then other awareness, it may not be all of that per se, but it's just being attuned to them and being aware of how they are and who they are, etc. and it allows you to respond to the situation and to the conversation and all the things in the appropriate way. People are so self-aware,
Unintelligent,
unself-aware.
un-EI, unemotionally.
Like people just aren't self-aware.
Right. Oh,
so
they're not aware of themselves.
they're not aware of themselves. So because they're not aware of themselves, they struggle to be aware of anyone else's needs. They can't see clearly. So you can't communicate clearly because you don't even know who and how you are. You don't even know that this is triggering you.
Mm.
You don't even know why you're upset. You don't even know why you're crying. You don't even know why. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you can't communicate because, like, for example, with us, like if anything happens with us, let's say there's an instance where I feel especially triggered. If I feel triggered, I may or may not react in that moment.
Right.
But if I do react, regardless, if I react or not, if I have enough self-awareness where you have actually seen me either walk away or in the moment be like, so I realize I'm in a, more or less, I'll say something to the effect of, I realize I'm in a space.
Right.
I didn't know this would trigger me. And the thing is, when that happens, then I can take a step back. And I know that's my cue not to keep talking, but to be like, I need to process this.
Right.
Because if I don't, we're going to have problems. We're going to be arguing. We're going to be beefing. It's going to be some weird something that didn't even have to go that far.
Right.
But also, being aware of yourself allows you to see how you impact other people. And being aware of other people allows you to see how they're experiencing you.
Right.
And also care about it. Henry was so caught up in himself that he couldn't see what Julia was going through.
Right.
And even though he saw how Dudley was affecting her, he was more so concerned about the fact that Dudley was affecting her instead of seeing that Dudley was affecting her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like, I see that this dude is taking my place.
Right.
He gotta go, instead of being like, wait, why is this dude taking my place?
What am I not? What am I not putting in here?
Yes.
That's keeping her from doing this.
What does she need that I'm not giving her?
Yep.
That's the question.
Right.
But if you're not emotionally intelligent, you can't have that conversation because you're just gonna be mad and you're gonna be like, I said it, he's gone. Don't ask me nothing about it. Don't ever bring Dudley up again.
Right. Yep.
And then you have this whole problem that gets worse. And so,
and you ain't even addressing the actual issue.
Exactly. And you can't do that because you lack emotional intelligence and you have no conflict resolution skills. Next thing you know, you got this greater chasm.
Yeah.
And your relationship is just, we don't know how we got here.
Right.
So I think the beginning of effective communication is to know yourself.
Okay.
And to be aware of other people.
Once you're aware of yourself, you know how to react to what you receive, and you can make the proper choice to adjust yourself first before you try to help the person that you need. So if he would have adjusted himself first and said, whoa, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? Mm-hmm. And he took a look at it and was like, oh, I'm feeling this way because Dudley's been spending time with my wife, and now she's feeling some kind of way about him. What do I need to do to address that? He could have been like, well, it's probably my fault because I sent Dudley off with this woman, not realizing that she needed something. She needed me. Yes. And so the fix would have been to switch it up, send Dudley to the church, and then I'm going to spend some time with my wife, which you saw in the film where when they start spending time together, they start connecting. Yep. They start to bond.
Yeah, exactly. But it was that whole point, like you said, he could have. It's that whole conversation we always have that y'all gonna keep hearing us have on our podcast is like literally take an objective view and say, what's my role in the mess? If Henry did what you just said, right, he'd be like, well, I'm tripping. What's really going on here? Right. And he did an eagle-eye view of his marriage and what was happening. He would have been like, yeah, this is my fault. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna fix this. And he would have made all those changes that you said, but he couldn't see the forest for the trees. So he's like, I'm about to start chopping trees and we're gonna be straight. Not knowing he burning down the whole, he's tearing up the whole forest. Like, this ain't fern gold.
Not fern gold.
Oh. You're gonna fern gold your marriage. And that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It really is hard to take a look back because the thing is, this movie is perfect for this conversation.
Yes.
Henry's not a bad guy.
No, he's not at all.
He's a good guy, and that's his problem.
Yeah.
He wants to be there for everybody.
All right, he's stretching himself thin.
Yeah, and if you, what do they say? You can't serve from an empty cup.
That's true.
So if your cup is not full, if it's not overflowing, you don't have nothing to give. And but Julia has to do the same thing. Right. Because she's not innocent in the matter, like she's innocent in the sense that she didn't make Henry neglect her. Right. Her problem is she didn't communicate nothing. And she told Dudley, what he got to do with this? But also, I feel like her role, what is her role in the mess? I feel like she didn't speak.
She didn't say nothing.
She didn't say nothing to him, but she said something to him. Right. That's her role in the mess.
And I think even her mom had to step in at one point.
She showed it. Mama was like, look here, Daddy.
She noticed it.
She did. Everybody know. Nobody knows the mama. Right. No, Julia knew. Yes. Because the first time Dudley brought her home, her mama just said, "What?" Her mama just looked at her. She's like, "It's not even like that." Mm-hmm. She's like, "What she say, little girl?"
Yes.
Just for Lewis, I always found somebody little girl.
Well, I'm saying she addressed both of them. She addressed her daughter and she addressed Dudley.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the conversation when she said, Dudley, walk with me.
Yeah, I am. That's what I'm saying. In that context, like she should have, Julie should have, she should have had the conversation.
She addressed her daughter early on before
Yes.
it even got that deep.
Yeah, she did.
But then Dudley, it became evident that Dudley caught feelings.
Yes.
And then she was like, oh, you do know.
And so that actually should have been Julie's conversation.
Julia,
Julia,
with
yeah.
who, though?
With Dudley.
I'm married.
Yes.
How can she do that? She's vulnerable.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so then where's the ownership in that? What's her part in that?
Her part is she was contributing to, she was telling him what was wrong about her marriage instead of telling Henry.
Right.
That was her part in the mess.
So then her ownership would have been, instead of relying on him, she should have had the internal thought, said, why am I feeling like I need to talk to this dude when I need to go talk to my man?
Yes, that's her role.
And so she should have went and talked to her man instead.
Mm-hmm. So the thing about it is when you take an objective view of your life, accountability and responsibility come to play, because there's no way you can literally look at your life objectively as humanly possible and not see how you contribute to it. And it's like, this applies to all relationships. It doesn't matter if it's romantic or not. The way you affect people will become evident if you allow yourself to see their side, empathize, demonstrate compassion, emotional intelligence. But also if you're aware, more so I should say, if you're aware of yourself. So if I know who I am and how I am and what triggers me and what I believe and what I value, etc., then I can be more attuned to how I affect people and how people perceive me.
Right.
And then adjust accordingly.
Right.
But if you don't allow yourself to be objective and really look at yourself and see your role in the mess, see how people might feel and respond and react to you the way they do, you're going to keep doing everything you do and you expect everything and everyone around you to change. And you keep causing mess and things keep getting worse and you can't figure out why because you're so lost in yourself, which is weird because you're lost in yourself and you don't know who you are.
Right. You give my whole message.
It's true, right?
It is. It's definitely.
It sucks. So like communication is only as useful as the communicator.
Okay.
And a communicator who's not self-aware is not a good communicator.
Right.
They just gonna start fights.
And it's gonna be fights every time.
Mm-hmm. And even if you are traditionally, or not traditionally, even if you are like technically a good communicator, you will come off as a bad communicator to them because they can't receive what you're talking about.
Right.
Because they don't have emotional intelligence and they have no conflict resolution skills.
So it doesn't matter if you a professional educator, if you can't talk to that person because they can't receive it.
They ain't receiving it. Yeah. Talk to your blue.
Makes sense.
And they'll be like, and they don't care what you're saying at the end of the day because the only thing they're really mindful of is themselves. So Henry and Julia, whatever medium, writing, calling, texting, even a mediator, someone else, they need their mom. Mom probably would have been useful in that case. Having that conversation. Yeah, she was the first lady. She should have leaned on her mom.
The whole time.
But she had this delusion about how great her father was.
Yes, she did. And her mom let her know about that.
Mom told her. And as soon as Mama told her the truth, she was like, well, I need help with Henry. And Mom wouldn't know. She didn't even act like Henry had it all together.
Right.
Because Henry, with all his attitude, she even addressed that with Julia. Because what she said, she's like, you gonna be like this all day?
You're like, you need to find out what's going on. That's what she said.
She did. And yet she didn't use her mom. She used Dudley.
Right.
So
mom was the smartest one in the. What's our saying? You should always listen to your mom.
Been saying that.
They be knowing it.
They be knowing. Listen to your mama. If she ain't crazy.
Yes, that can be honest.
Yeah, but it goes back to the idea of who can you rely on externally. It's not to say you shouldn't go to anyone externally, but certainly not the ones to whom you feel vulnerable, that someone who's got you feeling tempted in some type of way.
That'll jeopardize your relationship.
Yeah. Go to someone who's been where you are. Go to someone who is licensed or trained or, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually mature to be able to handle what you're sharing and not, exploit it.
Right.
Dudley didn't have any malintent, but he still wasn't the right person to talk to about this.
Right.
Especially because he was developing feelings for her. Why? Partly because he liked her as a person, but also she's being vulnerable.
Yeah. They got close.
But if she took all that to her mom, I think mom would have talked to her just sharing her own experience as a pastor's wife. Right. But then she would have been like, yeah, y'all go get in this room and we're going to talk about this.
Exactly. She could have brought them both together.
That's how that would have gone down.
Yeah.
Because she would have been like, this is your husband. Y'all need to talk. So we recognize that the needs of Julia and Henry were evident. They're juggling a lot.
Yes.
She's basically managing home while he's trying to manage the church. And as a result, they're neglecting each other. And I would even argue they're neglecting themselves. But for the purpose of this video,
right.
What kind of practical habits and routines can they develop to prevent neglecting their marriage more and create a better relationship?
I think the first thing, like I said before, the intentionality. Because of his busy schedule, I think he should incorporate some type of date night. So something where he can stop actually focus on them. And it doesn't have to be like we're going to go to the lavish spot or anything like that. It could be like they did with the baskets. They could be intentional and just be like, we're going to work on this project together as husband and wife, but we're going to tackle this together. And here's when we're going to do it. We're going to go get dinner. We're going to talk about it, and then we might go make baskets or whatever and pass it out together. I think they have to make those decisions, and it may just be not just date nights, but just intentional projects together, stuff that they can work on together, so they can get that time in, and as well as, like you said, having the conversations.
Yeah.
How about what do you think of that?
I think they need to talk about boundaries, but specifically, Henry needs to clarify boundaries, like we've talked about before. Like pastors need to start telling people, like you have, depending on the way your church is organized, right? You know, you might have deacons, you might have elders, you might have ministers. It just depends on your denomination, I guess. But delegate those responsibilities to them.
Right.
There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time where a pastor or a preacher needs to step in, but just like at work, you know, you have a director, a manager, supervisors, and employees. The director can't do all things, and if you are doing all things, to me, that conveys you don't trust nobody. And I'm like, why do we work here if you don't trust us?
Right.
And so I feel like it's the same way for churches.
Right.
Why you got people under you that you don't trust?
You got deacons and other people that you can have handle those things.
They can go minister to that family in the hospital. They can go deliver the baskets. They can go do all this other stuff. You ain't got to do everything. You can't be everything to everybody, especially to the neglect of your family. So I think they need to have those boundaries. And I think it would help if they had a transparent conversation about what those boundaries look like and why Julia would think those kind of boundaries are important. And then Henry could express his concerns about, like, I'm worried that if I don't do this anymore, then people are going to, his feelings are valid, but I think the conversation needs to be had. Right. But then also on the other side, boundaries as far as in the future, don't be sending no handsome man to go kick it with your wife.
Yeah, that's the number one worst step ever.
Wow.
Like, why would you do that?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't ever have to worry about me making that mistake.
Oh, you ain't gonna say no?
No, I'm not saying no Denzel. What's his kid's name?
Oh my God.
See?
John David Washington.
No, John David can stay. He can stay on the other side handling the church business. He's not about to take you shopping. Talking about, hey, go try that on. No, we're not doing that.
I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, see, I already know. I'm smarter than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think those boundaries are clear. People don't like talking about those kind of boundaries because you feel like, the main things people always talk about what they think they would never do.
Right.
But I'm like, you could be self-aware and not know yourself that much.
Oh, yeah.
And especially if you're in this vulnerable position in your life, you don't know. You don't know until you're put in a position. So the best thing is to be wise, exercise caution. I mean, some people might think it's extra, but it's like, at the end of the day, I'm looking out for myself. But if you really want to go there, you're looking out for the other person too.
Exactly.
Because why you want the drama?
Right. It's not needed.
It's then to your point, you're gonna be like that pastor that got by his lover.
Yep.
And then the wife gonna act like she didn't know. Girl, stop, get out of here.
You don't need no Dudley to tell you that.
Thank you. You don't need an angel to tell you your man is banging all these women in the congregation. You know this. My question is, what you been doing? We ain't gonna go there.
Please,
because that's not what this is about.
No.
But anyway, the point is, if you have them boundaries,
oh yeah, yep,
then this wouldn't even happen. Now he gone. He gone.
Yeah.
Wife lost her husband. Woman going to prison.
Yeah.
And for what?
No boundaries.
What did this movie convey about lasting love?
That it is repairable. When you get to that point where things start spinning out of control and you're not sure what's going on, if one person's feeling neglected or both are feeling neglected or overwhelmed, you can take steps towards rehabilitation. You can take steps to be intentional and communicate. You can take steps to create boundaries that are going to help strengthen the marriage or the relationship.
We're going to continue our countdown to Christmas. We hope that you go take some time to watch The Preacher's Wife and discuss with your partner how you can ensure that you improve the quality of your relationships so that you don't have this neglect like Juliet and Henry experienced. But it is a great movie, a loving movie, and it has a very happy ending. So we'll see you next week.
Leave some comments about your favorite Christmas movie.
And we'll catch you next time.